How much can you earn with a part-time job in Germany? Are there even any opportunities? And is it possible to save money after your expenses? So let me break all of that down for you with taxes and everything. About 70% of students in Germany have some form of part-time job. It's a very normal thing here, and you're not weird because you're earning money while studying. At my university, in my degree program, almost every student works some kind of part-time job. Especially if your job is related to your studies, it's a double win. Because on one hand you earn money, and on the other hand you get work experience. It's also not uncommon that the company you're working at during your studies offers you a full-time position after your studies. So if you do your work well, a job after graduation is quite safe. So let's talk about the part-time job laws here. If you are in Germany and want to keep your student status, you are allowed to work 140 full days or 280 half days in a year. A full day means working 8 hours and a half day 4 hours. And these work limits are calculated from January 1st to December 31st. During the lecture period of university, you are allowed to work 20 hours per week. And in the semester holiday, the lecture-free period, even up to 40 hours per week. So the money aspect is probably the most interesting aspect of a part-time job. I know a lot of students need to cover their living expenses themselves with or without support from family. So we want to make sure that we earn as much money as possible. So here is how the system works in Germany. So let's say you have a job that pays minimum wage, so the absolute minimum. And please keep in mind, this is very rare for student jobs because they usually pay much more. But I just want to show you the worst case. So let's do the calculation: 20 hours of work per week times 4.3 weeks per month times the 2025 minimum wage of 12.82 €. And this equals 1,102 euros per month. And this already sounds pretty good. But what about taxes and social contributions? So let me show you exactly what amount you would take home after these deductions. So as a student, if you earn less than 538 euros per month, you qualify for a mini job, which means you don't pay income tax or social security contributions. But at 1,102 euros per month, you exceed this limit. So let's break it down. So first is the income tax, Einkommensteuer. Now Germany has a basic tax-free allowance, which is 12,096 euros per year in 2025. And this means you don't pay any income tax unless your annual income goes over this amount. So let's say you earn 1,102 euros every month of the year. And this way your earnings would be 13,224 euros this year. And please keep in mind that only the amount above 12,096 euros is taxable. So the first 1,128 above the tax-free limit is taxed at the lowest rate, 14%, which means your income tax will be roughly 13 to 16 euros per month. This is not much. And then there are also social security contributions. As a student who's working less than 20 hours per week, you don't have to deduct health, nursing and unemployment insurance from your salary. But there is still one thing you have to pay: pension insurance. Rentenversicherung, which is 9.3% of your income. So 1,102 euros times 9.3% is 103 euros per month. So your gross income is 1,102 euros, income tax is 13 to 16 euros, pension insurance is 103 euros. So the total deductions are 116 to 119 euros. So your net salary, what you get to keep in your pocket, is 982 euros to 986 euros per month. So even with taxes and social security, you still take home around 985 euros per month, which is quite good for a student job at minimum wage. And this is also similar to the monthly blocked account amount of 992 euros. And this is the amount that the German government recommends for every student to live a stable student life in Germany. But keep in mind, we just talked about the minimum wage. I would say as a working student, you will usually earn more than the minimum wage. I would say your take-home pay is then above 1,000 euros per month, which is enough in most cities to completely cover your living expenses. If you don't happen to live in a super expensive city like Munich, Hamburg or Frankfurt, your monthly expenses might be 700 to 1,000 euros. And this way you can also save some money and also do some investing or buy a lot of schnitzel and sausages, whatever you want. Now also keep in mind, for student jobs it's also very realistic to earn 15 or 18 euros per hour. So how can you get these higher hourly wages? So depending on the job and hourly wage, you can also have differences of hundreds of euros at the end of each month. So here are a couple of ways to maximize your income as a student. Learning German is one thing that will definitely lead to higher pay. Being able to speak German will 1. Open more opportunities because you simply have more choices, and 2. It is an asset that you can nurture, and by the time you graduate, you can also land more opportunities. Trust me, speaking German matters more than you think. It even goes as far as 2 people in the same role with the same experience, they are earning different salaries. Almost every week I hear stories of students who struggle to even get a simple part-time job because of 2 reasons. They don't know how the German job market works, and they haven't invested time into even learning the basics of German. You can learn the A2 level of German in just a couple of months, and this will already give you an advantage. And to help you out, I created a detailed video about the best way to learn German as a beginner. Check it out after watching this video. I put the link to it in the video description. So one more thing that will boost your salary a lot is being strategic about your job search. For example, BMW in Munich is known for paying over 20 euros per hour for working students. And compare that to a supermarket cashier. This is a massive difference in salary. So if you have access to these types of companies, why not shoot your shot? Big companies like to hire students for lots of different reasons because they also get tax benefits from your student status. Of course, you need more skills for big companies, and a job like this is very competitive, but there is also a good chance that you get full-time employment after your studies. So see it as preparation for your career. Now, I would say in general, more skills lead to higher pay. For example, let's say you are studying computer science at university. In that case, it's really beneficial to look for a software engineering student job at a big company. And this way, you already have skills you can bring to the table. Of course, in the lower semesters, this might be harder because you are fresh at university and don't have much knowledge. So at the beginning of the university journey, you can look for general jobs like waiting tables. And in the 3rd semester, for example, you can start looking for jobs that complement your university studies. But actually, waiting tables can also lead to a very good income because you can collect a bunch of money through tips. In Germany, it's typical to tip 10% of the bill, and if you do your job well, you can almost double your hourly wage. And the same goes for delivery jobs. Now in Germany, you might also stumble upon something called black work, Schwarzarbeit. And this is illegal work without a contract, and you usually get a payout in cash. People use it as a way to get around taxes. Black work might be easy to find, and it might be tempting because the pay is not too bad. But it's absolutely not worth the risk. If you're caught, you will have a legal case against you, or you will be asked to leave the country. And German authorities have no mercy here. So please stick to legal job options and get a proper contract for your own safety and peace of mind. You don't have to be so desperate and go for these kinds of jobs. I can confidently say that jobs are available here in Germany. It's not like there are no opportunities. It's really not that bad. I know the full-time market looks a little bit different in the current economic conditions, but when it comes to part-time jobs like waiting tables at a restaurant or student assistant positions at universities, they are always available because you don't put too much burden on the company or institution. Now, I would say a year ago, there were definitely more opportunities, especially for English-speaking students. And these days, these jobs are still out there, but you might need to put in extra effort to find them. So to boost your chances and prepare for Germany, check out this video next about the best way to learn German. Love you and stay focused.